Hey, what's up? It's John. Welcome back. In this video, I'm just going to cover some of the unique positioning that's going on of certain items. For example, this Hey Beautiful being tilted and put up here. The Made in the Midwest badge down here. We'll see that in other spots. This right here overlapping. I'm going to go over that in this video. Here's the badge again. You can see that there. So I'm just going to go over some of that stuff. This part here is kind of cool. These are actually all image modules back here, and this is floating over it. Free stuff. So I'll go over a few of these here, and you'll get the idea and know what to look for if you want to change and adjust some of that. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into my pages here. I'm going to keep this Divi theme options page open just in case we need to write some CSS to change anything. I think we'll be okay though. But let's go ahead into the home page here in Divi. And the first thing we're going to look at is this Hey Beautiful. So sometimes when you try to layer things like this and overlap things in the visual builder, it can get kind of wonky and hard to select. Like for example, we see this badge here, but there's also a badge over here. That's because this one I'm using for desktop, but when it gets down to tablet and mobile, this one gets turned on. You can see that in the visibility settings here. So like this one is disabled on desktop, but on phone and tablet it's going to show. This one is the exact opposite. It's going to show on desktop but not on phone and tablet. Since I'm on this one, let me go ahead and cover the positioning of this one. So I'm going to right click it and go to layer, and you'll see that both this image here and this rotating image are both in the same column. And so let me go ahead and go into the options for this second image here. Yeah, see, sometimes it's just tricky to get a hold of it. But if I go to the Advanced tab and go to Position, you'll see that we're using Absolute Position. And what Absolute Position does is it removes the item from the document flow, it's called. So for example, I will reset this, and you'll see that it just puts the image right underneath this other image like you normally would if you just add it. When you first just add an image, this is what it's going to do. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. I'm going to go back in here real quick. Position, Advanced tab Position. So I can do that here too. So you can see relative, that's what it does. Now absolute, when you turn on absolute positioning, it's going to adjust itself based on the parent item. And in this case, the parent item is this column right here. And you can see when I hover over this column here, it's this whole column that holds this image. And that's why there's these settings here of like, do you want it in the bottom center? Do you want it in the center here? Do you want it over here? It's kind of putting it in position to that column. Top right of the column, top left of the column, bottom right of the column. Maybe you want it down over here. I chose over here. And then you have, when you do a corner, you have a couple extra options. You got a vertical offset that you can move it up and down, and this can be per desktop, tablet, mobile. Same thing here with a horizontal offset, but it's all going to be anchored to this column that these are in. If I do one in the middle here, it's automatically kind of centering it for me vertically, so my vertical option down here has disappeared because we're telling it I want it to kind of be in the halfway point. And I go in the center, both of my vertical and horizontal options are gone now. So just a note there. So this way you could sneak it up a bit. Maybe you want to bring it in a little and have it be more like that. This is where you can do that. And then let's say on tablet, well, in this example, this one on tablet is disabled because I didn't want it showing there. I'd rather have it show down here where this one's at. But I'm going to go ahead and X out of this one. But let's go to this one for tablet. So on desktop here, it's disabled. It's grayed out here. But if I go to advanced positioning on this one, same deal. It's absolutely positioned down to the bottom right here. And if I go to tablet here, now I can edit this one for tablet. Maybe I want it to be up a little higher, and I want it to come in a little bit on tablet. That looks good. And then on phone, let's say, let me scroll up and find it. Here it is. Let's say, well, I want it to be smaller, so I can go to the design, the sizing. Let's say I only want it to be 80 on the phone. Okay, cool. Now I can move it. Make sure my phone's selected here. Now I can kind of move it up a little bit and over to where I want. I could save that. I'm not going to save this because I like the settings that I had, but I'm just showing you here how you can move this stuff around. All right, so that covers the badge, and that's pretty much the same case for all of these badges here. You can click on them and move them how you'd like. All right, next let's talk about this Hey Beautiful. So this one sometimes I have a hard time selecting. You can see there. So sometimes I just go to this layer and I select it. And same situation. You got a column here that's kind of holding everything, and inside the column we got that Hey Beautiful text is first. And there's the Charly, more text, button, and our badge image. So if I go here to this text right here and I want to edit this, okay, we'll see that there's my text. Hey Beautiful, how are you? You know, whatever. If I go into the design tab and I go down to transform into rotation, you can see this is where it was rotated. So I rotated it a little bit like this. And then if you go into the advanced tab, position, same deal. Absolute positioned, top left. I can scooch this around a little bit. There's some offset that's happening here. Let me pull this end down here real quick. But you know, I could send it on this side or down over here. If I do here, I could kind of push it over here, like in this area. So I'm going to keep it where I had it, but just showing you again, and you know, tablet, mobile, it's gonna move around a bit. Now, I will say, it's not, here, let me exit out of this real quick. Let me show you, for example, on tablet mode here. It looks like, let me scroll up here. Back here, it looks like the Hey Beautiful is off of the light orange area here. But if I go to my page and I click on tablet mode here, iPad, go ahead and make this 100%. But you'll see that it's actually partly on it, and that's what I like. So this is another example of where the back end is a little off from the front end, and so you can't always trust what you see. So in this example, what I had to do was I had to inspect this. There's the Hey Beautiful, so I need to go to the module level, and this is where I had top 60. And I'll show you where that is at. This top's not minus 60 for the top here. If I go into this module, advanced, this is the Hey Beautiful module. Position, tablet, make sure my tablet's selected. Vertical offset, negative 60. That's what's making the top negative 60 here. And so if instead I wanted this to be, you know, maybe just that, maybe like this, minus 77, I would need to come back over here and make this minus 77, you know. Which up here looks way off, but it's going to be like that. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to show some of this overlapping stuff. If you like how it is, you might just want to leave it alone, but I'll kind of show you some ideas to help you with it. So let me look at this image right here. So forcing the full width here. Oh, I think this one I'm moving these columns right here. So this column, horizontal offset minus 50. That's what's happening there on that one. Let me put that back to where it was. If I go back here to this second column here, position, it's going to have some stuff. Negative 50 here, and then vertical width. So it's kind of being set based on vertical width is like as the screen gets smaller, it'll kind of hold its position a little bit or adjust it a little bit. Sometimes it's good to use vertical width instead of pixels. It's just something you got to experiment with. So that's how these ones are overlapping. They got this horizontal again. That's causing it to come over here. And then let me do maybe one or two more here. Okay, here's another good one here. So this one is a 2-column situation. But this one I made the image be 140%. And so that grew it. Like normally the image you'd be at 100%. And then, and then this would be way over here. They'd be side by side perfectly. But I wanted it to be a little larger here. And then same kind of deal in the columns itself. So in that second column, position, somehow I'm scooching it over, and I can't remember what's doing that. And look at this column here. Vertical offset 50, that's that one. Okay, this is a good exercise here in discovering why this is. Oh, it's probably actually the image itself. Position. Yeah, 40% offset. Yeah, there we go. That right there. And in this example, I used 40% because it holds the position better away from the edge of the screen here. If you do something like, I don't know, 200 pixels. Well, I guess that holds too, but I just chose to do 40% for that one. And then a side note here: when you're overlapping columns like this, and if they're not stacking, if one's not showing in front of the other one, you want to reverse that. All you got to do is go in the settings here, advanced position, and you'll see by default, your first column here, advanced position, has a z-index of 2, and your second column here has a z-index of 1 usually by default or whatever. But or I guess this one had 2. So if I make this column 1 and make this column a higher number, and so in this case, this first column is 2 or 3 or whatever, it's going to sit on top. So this one's 2 and this one's 1 right now. If I go into the second one now and I change it from 1 to 3, it's going to be on top now. So that's something to watch out for. And I think that's gonna do it. Another positioning thing here in this row, this first column, meet the team. You'll see that it sticks up here. For that, I'm just using the Advanced tab, Scroll Effects, Sticky Position, Stick to Top, and then I can also give it a. If you end up colorizing this, if you want a little more, some kind of an offset, you can set this to like 25. That'll kind of move it away from the header there. And then you can say when to unstick. Bottom of the section usually works best. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of that. Okay, yeah, I think for the most part, you want to kind of stick with how the sections are and just replace images in them. That's probably your best bet in using this theme. Sometimes images are not in an image module; they're part of a background image. So, for example, these services here, if I want to change this image, it's a background image. That way, this can grow and shrink, and this will grow and shrink with it. For example, like right there. Let me go down here now. It's in tablet mode. So now it's just filling in this area here. Those are sometimes I'll be a background image. So if you're looking up here and you see like, oh, here it is. Oh, no, that's the divider. That's not an image. How do I change this image? Go into the row, go into the column here, and look at the background, and that's where it's going to be. Oh, and lastly here, this guy, I have a section, and let me see here what we got going on. A row here. Yes. So basically I have two rows. I have a row right here, and then this row right here, I've made it smaller, and then it's positioning absolutely in the middle. And so it's going to the next, it's positioning itself based off the parent item. So in this case, let me go ahead and go to layer. Since I'm changing the position of this row, right? This row is the one that's being changed and absolutely positioned. If I just set it to default, it's just going to stack like a regular row would. But if I change it to absolute, now I can kind of move it around. Maybe I want it over here, right there, and I want to, move it this way a little bit. I could do that, but in this case, I want it right in the middle. And then what's cool on this one is all these are image modules. So when you go to tablet, I'm just turning on and off certain, like this one's disabled now. Let me see here, visibility. I turned it off for tablet and phone. And what that looks like on the front end is, it's just going to keep, I'm only keeping 4 instead of keeping all 8. And then I think here's all 8 of them. And then it goes down to just using the 4. Otherwise, there'd be another 2 images here and another 2 images there, which could be cool. I just liked how this looked. And then if you go down to tablet, I believe other ones get turned on again. I think it's like, there we go. 2 of them are left on because they stack like this. So that's just something to keep in mind as well as you're editing. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Don't be afraid to make a new page, clone this page when you do that, and mess around before coming back here. And I would highly recommend that you do that. Go ahead and let me go back here to this page. I'm going to refresh and not save. And what I mean by that is if you go to your dashboard, you can go to your pages area, and let's say you were going to do a lot of work on the home page. Well, I'd make a new page, and I would call it like home backup or home Charly or something, somehow that that it's the home page of the imported one, and it's kind of your backup. Use Divi Builder. And they change this sometimes, but choose a pre-made layout, my existing pages, and then I can find my home page right here. I can say use this layout. And so now it's going to import that layout. I can save this page. I'll exit. And the page looks exactly like the home page because it's a copy of it. But if I go into my pages area now, you'll see that we have a home backup. So now you can go to town on this home, and knowing that you can always copy in sections from your backup. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, but that'd be a good idea. All right, that wraps up this video on positioning. It's kind of the main thing for Charly, a lot of overlapping stuff. And thanks again for watching. All right, cheers, y'all.